I walked into St. Mary's reception hall wearing my best charcoal suit, carrying an envelope containing a $12,000 check. My younger brother Jake's wedding reception was in full swing, 200 guests mingling around elegantly decorated tables. I approached our reserved family table expecting to sit beside my parents. Instead, bride Sarah intercepted me with a cold smile. "Gregory, why don't you stand by the kitchen doors? It'll keep the family photos clean," she sneered, gesturing toward a folding chair near the service entrance. My assigned seat had been given to her college roommate. Stunned, I watched my mother Carol look away in embarrassment while wedding guests stared. In that moment of complete humiliation, I made a decision that would change everything. The $12,000 wasn't a wedding gift. It was the final payment on a business loan that had saved Jake's failing auto repair shop. And remembering that fact sent anger coursing through my veins. 6 months earlier, Jake's Collins Automotive had been drowning in debt following a costly lawsuit from a customer who claimed faulty brake work caused his accident. The legal fees alone had depleted Jake's savings, and his monthly overhead was bleeding him dry. While our parents wrung their hands helplessly, I stepped in with a $50,000 business loan from my successful digital marketing company. I'd built Gregory Digital Solutions from nothing, working 16-hour days, while Jake partied through college on our parents' dime. Starting with 3 clients in my studio apartment, I'd grown the company into a thriving operation, managing online marketing for dozens of local businesses. The $50,000 I loaned Jake represented months of careful saving and strategic planning. But I didn't just hand him money. I restructured his entire operation, implementing modern point-of-sale systems, automated inventory tracking, and customer relationship management software. I redesigned his website, optimized his search engine rankings, and created targeted advertising campaigns that tripled his monthly revenue within 12 weeks. The transformation was remarkable. Collins Automotive went from struggling to pay rent to booking appointments 3 weeks in advance. Jake's customer satisfaction ratings soared as I helped him streamline processes and improve service quality. His parts suppliers, impressed by the professional invoicing systems I'd installed, offered better credit terms and priority shipping. Throughout our childhood, I'd always protected Jake. When he struggled with math homework, I spent evenings tutoring him. When bullies targeted him in middle school, I intervened despite being only 2 years older. When he crashed Dad's car at 17, I helped cover the insurance deductible from my part-time job earnings. Our parents, Robert and Carol, had always favored Jake, the charming younger son with an easy smile and natural charisma. While Jake played football and attended social events, I worked multiple jobs to save for college and business expenses. Nobody questioned this dynamic. It simply became our family's established pattern. The arranged repayment schedule called for Jake to pay back $10,000 every 2 months. He'd made the first 4 payments promptly, but recently communication had become strained. Sarah had gradually isolated Jake from our regular business meetings, claiming I was being controlling and jealous of their happiness. Initially, our weekly partnership reviews took place at Jake's shop every Thursday evening. We'd analyze revenue reports, discuss customer feedback, and plan marketing strategies for the following month. These sessions had strengthened our relationship while ensuring the business stayed profitable. However, Sarah convinced Jake to move these meetings to phone calls, then eliminated them entirely. During the engagement party 3 months ago, Sarah had publicly thanked every family member and friend for their support, conspicuously omitting any mention of my business assistance. When I questioned Jake privately afterward, he defended her, insisting I was overthinking things and that Sarah simply had different communication styles than our family. Looking back, I should have recognized the manipulation earlier. Sarah's behavior followed a calculated pattern of gradually eroding my relationship with Jake, while positioning herself as his primary advisor and protector. She portrayed my business involvement as intrusion rather than support, suggesting that Jake needed independence to truly succeed. The final $12,000 payment was due at the wedding reception. Jake had requested this timing, saying it would be convenient since we'd all be gathered together anyway. I'd assumed he meant to handle it privately, perhaps during the cocktail hour. Instead, I found myself humiliated and relegated to a servant's position while strangers occupied the family table I'd earned through months of sacrifice. Standing by the kitchen doors, watching waitstaff rush past with dinner trays, I realized Sarah had orchestrated this entire scenario. This wasn't accidental seating confusion or wedding day stress. This was a deliberate public establishment of new family hierarchies, with Sarah controlling who belonged and who didn't. She was marking territory, demonstrating her power to exclude even blood relatives from important family moments. The wedding guests were already whispering, casting glances between the family table and my isolated position. Some looked confused. Others seemed to assume I'd done something wrong to deserve such treatment. Sarah's smile never wavered as she guided her college friends through introductions, pointedly ignoring my existence, while ensuring everyone noticed my banishment. That moment crystallized everything. This wasn't about wedding seating or photo aesthetics. This was about Sarah establishing permanent control over Jake's relationships and loyalties. She was sending a clear message that my role as protective older brother was over, that my business partnership was unwelcome, and that future family gatherings would operate under her authority. I pulled out my phone and calculated the exact amount Jake still owed: $12,375, including the agreed-upon interest. Then I walked deliberately toward the gift table, knowing that everything was about to change. As I approached the elegant gift table covered in white silk, my fingers found the envelope containing Jake's final payment. The weight of the check felt heavier now, loaded with months of sacrifice and brotherly devotion that Sarah had just publicly dismissed. I was reaching for it when voices from the nearby bridal suite caught my attention. Phase 2 starts after Hawaii. Sarah was saying into her phone, her tone completely different from the sweet bride voice she'd used all evening. Marcus, I told you removing Gregory's influence was always going to take time. But after tonight, Jake will finally understand that his brother is toxic. My blood ran cold. Through the partially open door, I could see Sarah pacing while still in her wedding dress, phone pressed to her ear. Of course, I've been researching Gregory's company value, she continued. The digital marketing business is worth at least $300,000 plus. Jake's shop is generating serious profit now. Between the business assets and the family inheritance prospects, we're looking at substantial long-term returns. I stepped closer, using my phone to record the conversation. Jake signed the life insurance papers last week just like we planned. $500,000 policy with me as beneficiary. He thinks it's standard married couple financial planning, but combined with the business partnership dissolution, we'll have complete control within 6 months. My hands trembled as I realized the scope of Sarah's manipulation. This wasn't just about wedding seating or family dynamics. She was systematically positioning herself to control Jake's entire financial future while eliminating my protective influence. Listen, Marcus, I documented everything Gregory has done as financial control tactics. The business loan, the weekly meetings, the software systems, even the customer relationship management. I can prove he's been manipulating Jake through economic dependency. Any court will see it as elder abuse patterns. Elder abuse. She was planning to use my genuine business assistance as evidence of exploitation. Every system I'd installed to help Jake's shop succeed would be twisted into proof of controlling behavior. I couldn't listen anymore. Pushing the door open, I stepped into the bridal suite where Sarah spun around, eyes widening when she saw me. "I'll call you back," she said, ending the phone conversation while maintaining perfect composure. "Gregory, you shouldn't be in here. This is the bridal suite." "Who's Marcus?" I asked directly, holding up my phone to show I'd been recording. Sarah didn't even flinch. Instead, she smoothed her wedding dress and sat down, gracefully studying me with calculating eyes. "Marcus is my business advisor. And before you start making accusations, everything I said is completely true. You have been financially controlling Jake for months, and it needs to stop." Financial control? I nearly laughed. I saved his business. I loaned him $50,000 when nobody else would help. Exactly, Sarah said, her voice taking on a patronizing tone. You created dependency. Jake can't make business decisions without consulting you first. He can't even choose his own software systems or marketing strategies. That's not brotherly support, Gregory. That's manipulation. Those systems increased his revenue by 300%. Under your control. Jake will never learn to succeed independently while you're managing every aspect of his business. I'm simply helping him recognize that he's capable of running Collins Automotive without his big brother's constant supervision. Before I could respond, Jake appeared in the doorway, still wearing his black tuxedo, but looking harried and confused. What's going on? People are asking why Gregory is missing from the family photos. Sarah immediately switched tactics, her eyes filling with tears as she pressed a hand to her chest. Jake Honey Gregory just cornered me in here and started making accusations. He's upset about the seating arrangement, and he's taking it out on me, on our wedding day. I recorded her phone conversation, I said, holding up my phone. She was talking to someone named Marcus about removing my influence and taking control of your business. Jake looked between us, confusion evident on his face. Gregory, what are you talking about? Listen to this recording. She's been planning to manipulate you into cutting business ties with me, and she mentioned life insurance policies and inheritance prospects. I don't want to hear any recording, Jake said firmly. This is my wedding day, and you're creating drama over seating arrangements. Sarah's right. You're acting jealous and desperate. Jealous? The word stung because it was so far from the truth. Jake, I invested $50,000 and 6 months of work into saving your business. I'm not jealous of your success. I'm proud of it. Then why can't you let me enjoy my wedding without trying to control everything? Sarah moved closer to Jake, taking his arm possessively. Honey, this is exactly what I was trying to protect you from. Gregory can't handle not being the center of attention, so he's manufacturing crisis to make everything about him. At that moment, our parents appeared behind Jake, looking concerned and embarrassed. Gregory, what's happening? Carol asked, wringing her hands. The photographer is waiting for family pictures, and people are asking where you are. He's having some kind of breakdown, Sarah said, her voice perfectly modulated to sound concerned rather than accusatory. I think the stress of not being involved in wedding planning has really affected him. He cornered me in here making wild accusations about my private phone conversations. What kind of accusations? Robert asked, his tone suggesting I was the problem. He thinks I'm trying to manipulate Jake's business decisions. He even claims to have recorded my personal phone calls, which is incredibly inappropriate. Carol looked at me with disappointment. Gregory, honey, you need to apologize to Sarah and let them enjoy their special day. This behavior is completely unacceptable. Mom, she was talking about dissolving Jake's business partnership with me and taking control of his finances. That's his wife now, Robert interjected. Married couples make financial decisions together. Your business arrangement will naturally change now that Jake has a family of his own. I realized with growing horror that Sarah had successfully framed the entire situation. To everyone else, I looked like a jealous brother who couldn't accept his younger sibling's independence. The recording I'd made would sound like legitimate business planning between newlyweds, while my presence in the bridal suite appeared invasive and inappropriate. I think Gregory should go home and cool off, Sarah suggested gently. This level of stress isn't healthy for anyone, especially on such a happy occasion. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Jake agreed, avoiding eye contact with me. Maybe you need some time to process everything that's changing. The betrayal cut deeper than any business loss. Jake was choosing Sarah's manipulation over our lifetime of brotherhood, and our parents were supporting the decision. Fine, I said, pocketing my phone. But Jake, you still owe me $12,375. Final payment was due today. Consider it a wedding gift, Sarah interjected smoothly. Surely family means more than money, Gregory. Wedding gift. I pulled out the envelope I'd originally brought. This check for $12,000 was supposed to be his final loan payment. You want me to make the business loan disappear as a gift? See, Sarah turned to Jake and our parents. This is exactly what I mean. Gregory is using money to control family relationships. He's demanding payment at our wedding reception like some kind of loan shark. The guests in the hallway were definitely listening now. I could see bridesmaids and groomsmen gathering, whispering about the family drama unfolding in the bridal suite. You know what? I said, making my decision. You're absolutely right, Sarah. Family is more important than money. I walked past all of them, heading directly for the gift table in full view of 200 wedding guests. Gregory, what are you doing? Carol called after me. I reached the gift table and located the envelope I'd brought for Jake. Opening it, I confirmed the $12,000 check was inside, then held it up for everyone to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, my voice carrying across the reception hall. I just want to publicly thank my new sister-in-law for teaching me an important lesson about family relationships. The room grew quiet as guests turned to listen. Sarah just explained that asking for payment of business loans at family gatherings is inappropriate. She's absolutely right. So I'm taking back this $12,000 check that represents my brother's final loan payment. As she said, family should be more important than money. Sarah appeared at the edge of the crowd, her face pale beneath her makeup. Don't worry, Sarah. I continued folding the check and putting it in my jacket pocket. I'll stay out of your family photos forever. Problem solved. The whispers started immediately as I walked toward the exit, leaving behind months of sacrifice and a lifetime of brotherhood. But I knew this was only the beginning. Sarah had underestimated exactly who she was dealing with, and that would prove to be her first serious mistake. Back in my downtown apartment at nearly midnight, I sat at my computer with a cup of coffee and began doing what I did best: comprehensive digital investigation. Sarah had made her move publicly, but she'd also revealed her hand. The name Marcus, the reference to Phase 2, and her sophisticated understanding of business manipulation suggested this wasn't amateur hour. Starting with basic searches, I found surprisingly little about Sarah Collins. Her social media presence was minimal, created only 2 years ago, when she'd started dating Jake. Her Facebook profile showed typical relationship milestones with my brother, but nothing about her life before they met. That absence of digital history was the first red flag. Professional genealogy databases yielded more interesting results. Sarah Collins appeared to be an alias. Cross-referencing her known addresses with public records, I discovered her legal name was Sarah Elizabeth Manning. This version had a much more extensive digital footprint, and none of it was good. Marriage records from Clark County, Nevada showed Sarah Elizabeth Manning had married Marcus Rodriguez 18 months ago. The ceremony took place in a Las Vegas chapel, while she was supposedly in an exclusive relationship with Jake. The marriage had never been dissolved, making tonight's wedding ceremony legally invalid. Marcus Rodriguez had an extensive criminal background spanning multiple states, fraud convictions in California, identity theft charges in Arizona, and several outstanding warrants for financial crimes. His most recent known address was a post office box in Henderson, Nevada, suggesting he operated without permanent residence. But the real breakthrough came when I found cached versions of Sarah's original social media profiles under her legal name. Photos showed expensive vacations to Europe, designer clothing shopping sprees, and luxury car rentals that Jake's auto shop income couldn't possibly support. Comments from friends referenced working another mark and retirement planning the easy way. The pattern became clearer as I dug deeper. In Oregon, Sarah had dated brewery owner Thomas Patterson's youngest son for 8 months in 2021. She'd gained access to the family's financial information, including vendor contracts and customer databases, before disappearing with $15,000 in cash that she'd convinced him to loan her for a family emergency. The brewery filed police reports, but Sarah had vanished completely. Colorado records showed a similar scenario in 2022. Sarah had befriended elderly rancher's widow Helen Morrison, convincing her to provide access to estate planning documents while gaining power of attorney for temporary assistance. A fraud investigation was launched after Helen's children discovered suspicious banking activity, but charges were dropped when Sarah returned most of the money and agreed to leave the state. The sophistication of these schemes impressed and terrified me. Sarah specifically targeted youngest sons in family businesses, exploiting their desire for independence from older siblings. She'd studied our family dynamics for months, identifying exactly how to isolate Jake from my protective influence while gaining access to our business relationship. Marcus's role became apparent through deeper investigation. While Sarah handled relationship manipulation, he managed the technical aspects of identity theft and financial fraud. Database searches revealed their partnership in multiple states, always targeting families with established businesses and clear inheritance patterns. I found Sarah's real Instagram account under her legal name, complete with photos from her recent schemes. Pictures of her wearing expensive jewelry while vacationing in the Bahamas, posing beside luxury cars, and dining at high-end restaurants. The timestamps corresponded perfectly with her Oregon and Colorado operations. Cross-referencing her psychology revealed a disturbing pattern. Sarah exclusively pursued youngest sons, particularly those with complicated relationships with older siblings. She'd studied family business structures, understanding that younger partners often felt overshadowed and craved independence from family mentors. Her conversation with Marcus made perfect sense now. Phase 2 involved gaining control of Jake's business by eliminating my influence, then manipulating him into taking large loans or insurance policies before staging some kind of emergency or incident. The life insurance policy she'd mentioned was likely just the beginning. I discovered Marcus had previously been investigated for suspicious insurance claims involving accidental deaths of romantic partners. While no charges were filed due to insufficient evidence, the pattern was unmistakable. Sarah and Marcus weren't just running financial scams, they were potentially involved in much more serious crimes. My professional investigation tools revealed Sarah had been researching my digital marketing company for months. She'd created fake business inquiries to gather information about my client contracts, revenue streams, and business partnerships. Screenshots showed she'd attempted to contact several of my major clients, claiming to represent Collins Family Marketing and offering similar services at reduced rates. The depth of her research was staggering. She'd obtained copies of my contracts with 3 major auto parts suppliers' customer lists from Jake's shop and detailed financial information about our family business relationships. This wasn't opportunistic fraud. It was systematic industrial espionage designed to steal my client base while destroying my relationship with Jake. But Sarah had made several critical errors. She'd underestimated the paper trail created by her previous schemes, failed to completely scrub her digital history, and most importantly, she'd targeted someone with professional investigation capabilities and the resources to fight back. I compiled detailed folders on both Sarah Manning and Marcus Rodriguez, including criminal histories, previous fraud victims, photographic evidence, and documented timeline of their current scheme targeting Jake and my family. The evidence was overwhelming and independently verifiable through public records. However, approaching Jake directly would backfire due to Sarah's manipulation. She'd successfully convinced him that I was controlling and jealous, meaning any evidence I presented would be dismissed as desperate fabrication. I needed a strategy that would expose the truth while protecting Jake from further manipulation. Looking at my business contracts, I realized I held more leverage than Sarah understood. My digital marketing firm managed exclusive online sales platforms for 3 major automotive parts distributors that supplied Jake's shop. These contracts included non-compete clauses, preventing the suppliers from working with competing firms in our geographic area. Jake's business depended entirely on priority pricing and rapid delivery from these suppliers. Without my contract arrangements, he'd face 40% higher costs and delayed shipments, potentially bankrupting Collins Automotive within months. If Sarah wanted to play business warfare, she'd picked the wrong opponent. I had the resources, skills, and motivation to expose her completely while protecting my brother from the consequences of her manipulation. The question was whether I could save Jake's business and our relationship while bringing down their entire operation. The first step would be securing my client relationships and gathering additional evidence. Sarah had revealed her timeline during the phone conversation. Phase 2 would begin after their Hawaiian honeymoon. That gave me exactly 1 week to build an airtight case and prepare my response. By 3 in the morning, I documented everything and begun planning my counterattack. Sarah Manning was about to discover that some families fight back harder than she'd ever imagined. Over the next 4 days, while Jake and Sarah honeymooned in Hawaii, I dove deeper into the business relationships that formed the backbone of both our operations. What I discovered gave me significantly more leverage than I'd initially realized. Gregory Digital Solutions managed comprehensive online marketing campaigns for 3 major automotive parts distributors: Midwest Auto Supply, Continental Parts Network, and Precision Components, Inc. These weren't simple advertising contracts. I'd developed exclusive digital sales platforms, inventory management systems, and customer relationship databases that these companies relied on for daily operations. My contracts with these suppliers included strictly enforced non-compete clauses, preventing them from working with competing marketing firms within a 50-mile radius of our location. These agreements protected my investment in their specialized systems while ensuring Jake's shop maintained preferred vendor status with priority pricing and expedited shipping. Jake's shop had become their flagship dealer in our region. Collins Automotive moved more inventory than any 3 competitors combined, largely due to the integrated ordering systems and targeted customer campaigns I'd designed. The suppliers offered Jake credit terms and bulk discounts that smaller shops couldn't access. But reviewing recent communication logs revealed Sarah's manipulation had extended far beyond family relationships. She'd been using Jake's business credentials to contact my suppliers directly, claiming to represent something called Collins Auto Marketing and requesting copies of our existing contracts. Continental Parts Network's sales manager, David Walsh, forwarded me an email Sarah had sent 3 weeks earlier. She'd represented herself as Jake's business partner, requesting detailed contract terms and client lists under the pretense of updating our marketing strategies. David had declined to share confidential information, but Sarah's professional presentation had been sophisticated enough to warrant serious consideration. Midwest Auto Supply revealed that Sarah had contacted them twice once, claiming my company was under investigation for financial irregularities and offering to maintain their marketing services at reduced rates. She'd presented forged documents showing Jake as a partner in Gregory Digital Solutions, giving her apparent authority to negotiate new agreements. The sophistication shocked me. Sarah had been preparing to steal my entire client base while simultaneously destroying my reputation. Her research into my business relationships was preparation for industrial espionage, not just personal manipulation. Precision Components, Inc. provided the most disturbing information. Sarah had scheduled a meeting for the week after the honeymoon planning to present a proposal for transitioning their marketing services to her fictitious company. She'd obtained detailed customer databases, vendor contact lists, and financial projections by photographing documents in Jake's office. My lawyer confirmed that Sarah's actions constituted multiple felonies: contract interference, industrial espionage, identity theft for business purposes, and fraudulent representation. However, prosecuting would require admitting that Jake had provided the business information, potentially destroying our relationship permanently. But I also realized my leverage was absolute. Without my supplier contracts, Jake's business would fail regardless of Sarah's manipulation. The automated ordering system's priority shipping arrangements and bulk pricing discounts were tied directly to my company's performance metrics and relationship history. If Sarah succeeded in convincing Jake to sever our business partnership, Collins Automotive would lose access to preferred vendor status within 30 days. His costs would increase 40%, while delivery times doubled, making it impossible to compete with other local shops. The three suppliers had invested heavily in the integrated systems I'd designed, specifically for their partnership with Jake's shop. Switching to another marketing firm would require rebuilding those systems from scratch, costing tens of thousands in development expenses, while disrupting established customer relationships. My meetings with each supplier confirmed their loyalty to our existing arrangements. David Walsh at Continental Parts Network explicitly stated they had no interest in working with unknown marketing companies, especially ones making suspicious claims about their current provider. Gregory, your integrated systems generate more revenue for us than any other dealer relationship, he explained during our phone conversation. Why would we risk that for someone we've never heard of making unsubstantiated claims about your company? Midwest Auto Supply's procurement director was even more direct. If Collins Automotive wants to change marketing providers, that's their choice. But they'll be treated as a standard dealer without the priority benefits you've negotiated for them. This gave me a strategic advantage Sarah hadn't anticipated. She'd assumed business relationships were easily transferable, not understanding that my value to these suppliers extended far beyond simple advertising campaigns. But the investigation revealed an even more serious dimension to their scheme. Marcus Rodriguez had been researching insurance fraud opportunities related to family businesses. Database searches showed he'd studied accidental death claims involving business partnerships looking for patterns he could replicate. Court records from Nevada revealed Marcus had previously been investigated in connection with two suspicious deaths of romantic partners who'd had life insurance policies. In both cases, the deaths were ruled accidental, but insurance companies had delayed payments pending additional investigation. Sarah's mention of Jake's life insurance policy took on sinister implications when combined with Marcus's history. They weren't just planning financial manipulation, they were potentially setting up Jake for something much worse. I contacted my business insurance provider, discovering that Sarah had attempted to gain information about my company's policies as well. She'd called claiming to be updating contact information for Collins Automotive Fishing for details about coverage amounts and claim procedures. The scope of their operation extended beyond anything I'd initially imagined. They were systematically researching every aspect of our family's financial situation, business relationships, and insurance coverage, while positioning themselves to exploit vulnerabilities. However, their thorough research had created extensive documentation of their criminal intent. Every forged document, fraudulent phone call, and manipulative conversation left electronic evidence that could be used against them. My lawyer recommended building a comprehensive case before taking action, but time was running short. Jake and Sarah would return from Hawaii in 3 days, and Sarah had scheduled her meeting with Precision Components, Inc. for the following week. I decided to accelerate my timeline. Rather than waiting for Sarah to make her move, I would force her hand by implementing a carefully planned exposure that would reveal the full scope of their criminal operation while protecting Jake from the consequences. The key was my automated systems. Gregory Digital Solutions had been built around sophisticated customer relationship management and communication platforms designed to handle large-scale marketing campaigns efficiently. These same systems could be repurposed to deliver comprehensive evidence packages to targeted recipient lists simultaneously. Sarah had underestimated both my technical capabilities and my determination to protect my family. She was about to discover that some investigations come with consequences she'd never anticipated. 3 days into Jake and Sarah's Hawaiian honeymoon, I activated the automated system I'd spent the previous week programming. What Sarah had dismissively referred to as clicking one button was actually a sophisticated multi-platform evidence delivery system designed to expose their entire criminal operation simultaneously. The system I'd developed sent carefully customized evidence packages to 347 recipients across multiple categories. Wedding guests received marriage fraud documentation showing Sarah's existing marriage to Marcus Rodriguez. Business contacts got contract interference evidence and criminal background reports. Family members received comprehensive fraud histories, including previous victims' testimonies. Law enforcement agencies in 5 states received complete criminal dossiers with independently verifiable evidence. Each package was tailored to its recipient's relationship with our family and their ability to take appropriate action. The evidence was overwhelming and independently confirmable through public records, making it impossible for Sarah to dismiss as fabrication or manipulation. The automated system activated at 9:30 Hawaiian time, when Jake and Sarah would likely be at breakfast. Within minutes, the evidence began spreading exponentially as recipients forwarded information to their own networks. Wedding photographer Tyler Mitchell posted a public Facebook statement within the first hour. "I want to apologize to everyone who attended the Collins wedding reception. I've been provided with documented evidence that the marriage ceremony I photographed was legally invalid due to the bride's existing marriage to another man. I had no knowledge of this situation and deeply regret my role in documenting what appears to have been marriage fraud." Tyler's post included links to the Clark County, Nevada marriage records, showing Sarah's legal marriage to Marcus Rodriguez, creating viral spreading of the core evidence. Wedding guests began sharing the information throughout their social media networks, generating exponential exposure. Maid of honor Jessica Walsh contacted me within 2 hours, her voice shaking with anger and disbelief. "Gregory, I knew something was wrong during the bachelorette party. Sarah kept making phone calls to someone named Marcus, claiming it was work-related. When I asked about her job, she got defensive and changed the subject." Now everything makes sense. Jessica revealed that Sarah had asked detailed questions about our family's financial situation during wedding preparation, claiming she wanted to understand Jake's support system better. She'd inquired about my business operations, our parents' retirement plans, and family inheritance expectations with concerning specificity. The wedding venue manager called demanding immediate payment clarification as Sarah's credit cards were being declined following fraud alerts triggered by the investigation. The remaining balance for catering services, flowers, and entertainment totaled $8,000 that Sarah apparently couldn't cover. Jake's business customers began responding within hours. Patterson Automotive, his largest commercial client, sent urgent emails requesting contract clarification after receiving business interruption notices. Fleet manager Robert Patterson was furious. "If Collins Automotive loses access to priority parts delivery because of family drama, we'll have to find another repair shop immediately." The automated system had included business continuity assurances in the customer notifications, explaining that all existing service contracts would remain in effect as long as my marketing agreements with parts suppliers continued. This protected Jake's customer relationships while demonstrating the critical nature of our business partnership. Social media responses revealed Sarah's manipulation had extended far beyond our family. Several wedding guests posted about concerning conversations they'd had with Sarah during the reception, where she'd made inappropriate inquiries about business relationships and financial arrangements among different families. Groomsman Michael Torres shared a particularly revealing story. "Sarah cornered me at the reception, asking detailed questions about my family's restaurant business. She wanted to know about supplier relationships, financial partnerships, and whether my older brother had control over day-to-day operations. I thought she was just making conversation, but now it seems like she was gathering information for something else entirely." The evidence packages included Sarah's previous fraud victims' contact information, leading to an immediate network effect. Thomas Patterson from the Oregon brewery operation contacted me directly, providing additional documentation about Sarah and Marcus's scheme targeting his family. "She used the exact same playbook with my younger brother," Thomas explained. "Isolated him from family business advisors, convinced him that family involvement was controlling rather than supportive, then manipulated him into providing access to sensitive business information. We lost $15,000 before we figured out what was happening." Colorado victim Helen Morrison's daughter provided similar testimony about Sarah's psychological manipulation techniques. She specifically targets family relationships that involve business partnerships. She identifies the person who feels overshadowed or controlled, then exploits those feelings to gain access to financial information and business assets. Marcus Rodriguez's criminal associates began surfacing as the investigation generated law enforcement attention. Nevada authorities discovered an extensive network of individuals involved in similar family business fraud schemes across the western United States. Sarah attempted damage control from Hawaii, posting frantic social media statements claiming the evidence was fabricated by a mentally unstable ex-business partner. However, marriage certificates, criminal records, and court documents are independently verifiable through government databases, making her denials obviously false. Marcus made his first public appearance by posting threatening comments on my business social media accounts. Gary, you're so Gregory Collins, better watch his back when we get home. Nobody destroys my family and gets away with it. These threats were immediately screenshotted and forwarded to law enforcement, providing additional evidence of their criminal partnership. The Hawaii Tourism Authority contacted local police after several hotels reported guests matching Sarah and Marcus's descriptions, engaging in suspicious financial activities. Apparently, they'd been running credit card scams on other tourists while supposedly honeymooning. My phone showed 123 missed calls by the end of the first day. The automated system continued sending evidence packages to expanding recipient lists as wedding guests and business contacts forwarded information to their own professional networks. Jake's auto parts suppliers confirmed their loyalty to our existing contracts while distancing themselves from Sarah's fraudulent contact attempts. Midwest Auto Supply's sales director sent written confirmation. Gregory Collins remains our exclusive marketing partner in this territory. Any claims to the contrary are false and potentially criminal. The investigation had triggered a multi-state law enforcement response involving financial crimes units in Nevada, Oregon, Colorado, and our home state. Federal authorities were considering RICO charges due to the interstate nature of Sarah and Marcus's criminal enterprise. Most importantly, my evidence packages reached Sarah's current and previous manipulation victims, creating a support network for people who'd been targeted by similar schemes. The Oregon brewery owner Colorado Rancher's family and several other victims began sharing information that strengthened the overall criminal case. However, I still hadn't heard from Jake directly. The evidence packages sent to Hawaii would force him to confront Sarah's deception, but I couldn't predict how he'd respond after months of psychological manipulation. The next phase would determine whether I could save my brother, along with exposing the criminals who'd targeted our family. At 3:17 in the morning, my phone rang with a Hawaii number I didn't recognize. Jake's voice was barely a whisper, muffled and shaking. Gregory, I need to talk to you. I'm in the hotel bathroom with the door locked. Sarah's asleep, but I don't know for how long. Jake, are you okay? I've been worried about you for days. No, I'm not okay. Nothing has been okay for months. But I was too scared to admit it. His voice cracked. Gregory, she's been drugging me. Crushing anxiety medication into my morning coffee every day for the past 2 months. I found the pills hidden in her makeup bag yesterday. My blood ran cold. What kind of medication? Lorazepam. High-dose tablets that she's been grinding up and mixing into my drinks. I've been feeling confused and compliant, like I couldn't think clearly or make decisions. I thought it was wedding stress, but now I realize she's been chemically controlling me. Why didn't you tell me I could have helped? Because every time I tried to think clearly about our situation, she'd increase the dosage. And Gregory, I overheard her phone conversation with Marcus the night before our wedding. I know about their marriage. I know about the criminal history. I know about their plan to take over my business and eliminate your influence. The betrayal went even deeper than I'd imagined. Then why did you go through with the wedding? She threatened to destroy everything if I backed out. She had compiled files on Collins Automotive's safety violations, customer complaints, and regulatory issues. She threatened to send everything to the state licensing board, the Better Business Bureau, and our insurance company. She said she'd ruin my reputation and shut down my shop if I didn't cooperate. Jake's fear was palpable even through the phone connection. Sarah's manipulation had been far more sophisticated and threatening than anyone realized. She also threatened you directly, Jake continued. She said she had evidence that your business loan constituted elder abuse and that she could have you arrested for financial exploitation. She convinced me that speaking up would destroy both our businesses and land you in legal trouble. Jake, none of that would hold up in court. Her threats were empty. I was too drugged and scared to think logically. Every morning, the medication made me compliant and willing to go along with her plans. By afternoon, when it wore off, she'd convince me that resistance would hurt everyone I care about. Through the hotel bathroom door, I could hear Sarah's voice calling Jake's name. His panic was immediate. She's waking up. Gregory, the police are coming to our hotel with arrest warrants. Your evidence packages reached the FBI field office in Honolulu. They're coordinating with mainland authorities to arrest both Sarah and Marcus this morning. Where's Marcus? He flew in 2 days ago. They've been running credit card fraud schemes on other tourists while we've been here. Sarah told everyone Marcus was her business partner, but he's been acting as her husband the entire time. The hotel room sounds grew more urgent as Sarah began searching for Jake. Her voice carried clearly through the bathroom door. Jake, where are you? We need to pack immediately. Someone's been spreading lies about us online, and we need to leave Hawaii today. I need to go, Jake whispered. But Gregory, I want you to know that I never stopped loving you or appreciating everything you've done for me. I've just been too drugged and scared to fight back. We're going to get through this, Jake. Stay safe and cooperate with the police when they arrive. There's something else. Sarah made me sign life insurance papers last week, but I was so medicated that I didn't read them carefully. She convinced me it was standard married couple financial planning, but the beneficiary amount was $500,000. The full scope of Sarah's plan crystallized. The anxiety medication wasn't just about control. It was about making Jake vulnerable to accidents or medical emergencies that could trigger the life insurance payout. Jake, stay in that bathroom until the police arrive. Don't eat or drink anything Sarah gives you, and don't let her convince you to go anywhere alone. The phone line went dead as hotel security and law enforcement began pounding on their door. Within minutes, my phone exploded with calls from reporters, law enforcement agencies, and family members as news of the arrests spread. The Oregon brewery owner Thomas Patterson called within an hour with crucial information. Gregory, the FBI contacted me about your brother's case. Apparently, Sarah and Marcus have been under federal investigation for months. Your evidence packages provided the final pieces they needed to make arrests and file RICO charges. The scope of the criminal enterprise was staggering. Federal investigators had identified 12 families across 5 states who'd been targeted by similar schemes. Sarah and Marcus's operation had stolen over $400,000 through business fraud, identity theft, and insurance manipulation. Colorado victim Helen Morrison's daughter provided additional context. The FBI says Sarah specifically targets youngest sons in family businesses because they're most likely to feel overshadowed and crave independence from older siblings. Her psychological manipulation techniques are apparently textbook examples of how criminals exploit family dynamics. Marcus Rodriguez was arrested in the hotel lobby while attempting to flee with suitcases full of fraudulent credit cards and identification documents. His capture led to the discovery of a sophisticated forgery operation in their hotel room, complete with fake business licenses, insurance documents, and identity theft equipment. Sarah's arrest was far more dramatic. Hotel security reported she barricaded herself in the bathroom, alternating between threatening suicide and screaming accusations at Jake for betraying their marriage. Her breakdown was recorded by multiple witnesses, providing additional evidence of her manipulative personality and lack of genuine emotional connection to Jake. The wedding venue contacted me directly requesting immediate payment of the $8,000 balance that Sarah couldn't cover. Her credit cards had been frozen pending fraud investigation, leaving multiple vendors unpaid for services rendered. Jake's business customers rallied around the evidence I'd provided, offering continued support and understanding about the family crisis. Patterson Automotive sent a formal statement. We recognize that Jake Collins was the victim of criminal manipulation. His business partnership with Gregory Collins Digital Solutions ensured excellent service, and we look forward to continuing that relationship. 3 new clients approached my company after witnessing the thorough professional investigation I'd conducted. Corporate security departments were impressed by the comprehensive evidence gathering and systematic exposure of the criminal network. Wedding photographer Tyler Mitchell created a social media documentary about the investigation, highlighting how criminal manipulation targets family relationships and business partnerships. His documentation helped other families recognize similar warning signs in their own relationships. Sarah's extended family contacted our parents, initially demanding that I stop this harassment of their daughter. However, when presented with marriage certificates, criminal background checks, and Marcus's arrest record, they realized Sarah had been lying to them as well. The life insurance policy Jake mentioned proved to be just one element of a complex fraud scheme. Sarah had also attempted to add herself as beneficiary to Jake's business insurance equipment leases and retirement accounts while he was chemically compromised. Federal prosecutors indicated that Sarah and Marcus could face 15 to 20-year sentences under RICO statutes due to the multi-state nature of their criminal enterprise. Their operation had targeted dozens of families while stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars through systematic psychological manipulation. Most importantly, Jake's phone call proved that our brotherhood had survived Sarah's manipulation. Despite months of chemical control and psychological abuse, his fundamental loyalty to our family relationship remained intact. The question now was whether we could rebuild our business partnership and family trust while healing from the trauma of her systematic deception. 6 weeks later, I stood in the same courthouse where Sarah Manning and Marcus Rodriguez were sentenced for federal fraud conspiracy. Sarah received 8 years in federal prison for her role in the multi-state criminal enterprise, while Marcus got 12 years as the technical mastermind. Their operations exposure had helped 23 other victims recover stolen funds while preventing an estimated $2.3 million in additional damages. Jake sat beside me during the sentencing, hearing his recovery from months of involuntary medication, evident in his clear eyes and steady voice, as he provided victim impact testimony. The prosecution used his statement to demonstrate the psychological and financial devastation caused by Sarah's systematic manipulation of family relationships. Your Honor, Jake testified, "This defendant didn't just steal money. She destroyed my ability to trust my own judgment, damaged my relationship with my brother, who'd sacrificed everything to help me succeed, and nearly cost me the business that represents my life's work. The medication she gave me without my knowledge left me unable to think clearly or protect myself from further manipulation." The judge's response was swift and decisive. The court finds that this criminal enterprise specifically targeted family relationships and exploited psychological vulnerabilities to commit fraud. The sophisticated nature of the schemes and the number of victims across multiple states justifies the maximum sentences allowed under federal guidelines. Collins Automotive had not only survived the crisis, but experienced unprecedented growth. The publicity surrounding the case generated sympathy customers who appreciated Jake's status as a crime victim, while my investigation's thoroughness attracted business clients seeking fraud protection services. The auto parts suppliers offered expanded exclusive contracts, impressed by my loyalty during a family crisis and the professional manner in which I'd handled the investigation. Midwest Auto Supply's sales director explained, Gregory proved that his business relationships are based on integrity and long-term commitment. That's exactly the kind of partner we want to work with. Jake formally restructured our business partnership as equal partners rather than borrower and lender. He insisted on paying the $12,375 with interest, then proposed combining Collins Automotive with Gregory Digital Solutions under shared ownership. I want our businesses to be completely integrated, Jake explained. Your investigation saved my life, probably literally given what they had planned with that life insurance policy. I owe you everything, and I want us to build something together that honors that sacrifice. Our parents underwent their own transformation following the crisis. Carol and Robert acknowledged their long-standing favoritism had made Jake vulnerable to Sarah's manipulation by creating feelings of inadequacy and need for external validation. We failed both of you, Carol admitted during our first family dinner after the sentencing. We taught Jake to seek approval from outsiders instead of valuing the family support he already had. And we taught Gregory that his sacrifices would never be appreciated the way they deserved. Robert established new family traditions, emphasizing equal treatment and open communication. From now on, major family decisions get discussed together. No more secrets, no more favoritism, and no more taking anyone's loyalty for granted. The investigation's methodology became a case study for federal law enforcement training programs. FBI financial crimes units requested permission to use my evidence-gathering techniques in their training materials, highlighting how thorough documentation and systematic exposure could dismantle complex criminal networks. Wedding guests who had initially criticized my behavior sent formal apologies along with requests for my business services. Tyler Mitchell, the wedding photographer, documented the entire aftermath in a viral video series about recognizing manipulation in family relationships. I learned that sometimes protecting people you love means being willing to look like the villain temporarily, Tyler explained in his documentary. Gregory's willingness to be hated by his family for several weeks ultimately saved his brother's life and exposed dangerous criminals. Jake's recovery from chemical manipulation required several months of therapy, but he emerged stronger and more self-aware. His counselor confirmed that the anxiety medication had significantly impaired his judgment and decision-making ability, validating his experience of feeling confused and compliant. The most important thing Jake learned, his therapist Dr. Williams explained, is that asking for help from family members isn't weakness or dependency. It's actually a sign of healthy relationships and good judgment. My own business experienced unprecedented expansion as corporate clients sought comprehensive background investigation services. 3 Fortune 500 companies offered retainer contracts based on my demonstration of thorough fraud detection and systematic evidence gathering. But the most meaningful development was meeting Amanda Chen, a federal prosecutor who worked on Sarah's case. Her appreciation for methodical evidence gathering and commitment to justice led to genuine friendship, then romantic relationship built on mutual respect rather than manipulation. What impressed me about Gregory, Amanda later explained, wasn't just his investigation skills. It was his willingness to be patient and strategic rather than emotional, even when his family relationships were being destroyed. That level of self-control and long-term thinking showed incredible character. The Collins Family Protection Fund, established with settlement money from Sarah's victims' compensation, now helps other families investigate suspicious relationships before marriage or business partnerships. Jake and I personally review applications and provide investigation services for families who suspect manipulation. Our story became a cautionary tale and success story in family business publications, demonstrating how criminal manipulation targets sibling relationships while highlighting the importance of standing up for truth even when it creates temporary conflict. The life lesson that emerged was profound. Protecting people you love sometimes requires making difficult choices that create short-term pain for long-term benefit. My willingness to be temporarily hated by my family ultimately saved Jake from years of abuse, potential financial ruin, and possibly even death. Jake learned that independence doesn't mean isolation from family support, and that accepting help from people who genuinely care about your success isn't weakness or control. Our partnership became stronger because it was now based on mutual respect and shared decision-making rather than obligation or dependency. Today, Collins Automotive and Gregory Digital Solutions operate from connected buildings in our downtown business district. Jake handles all mechanical services, while I manage marketing investigation services and business development. Our partnership serves as a model for family business cooperation at local entrepreneurship seminars. The final court documents showed Sarah and Marcus's criminal network had targeted 47 families across 8 states over 3 years. Their conviction prevented countless future victims while providing closure for existing ones. Standing in Jake's shop office, looking at our shared business success and rebuilt family relationships, I realized that standing up for truth had been worth every moment of temporary conflict. Family loyalty isn't about avoiding difficult conversations or enabling bad decisions. It's about protecting the people you love, even when they can't protect themselves. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is refusing to let them make choices that will destroy their life even if they hate you for it at the time. 6 months ago, Jake resented my business involvement and saw it as controlling. Today, he understands it was love expressed through action and sacrifice. Our family learned that trust must be based on evidence and consistency rather than simply blood relationships or emotional appeals. Sarah's manipulation succeeded because she exploited our assumption that caring means accepting someone at face value without verification. The most important lesson was that protecting your family from predators sometimes requires being willing to be seen as the predator yourself, at least temporarily. Truth and justice don't always arrive with immediate gratitude, but they create foundations for genuine, lasting relationships built on reality rather than manipulation. Would you have been willing to risk being hated by your family to protect them from someone you knew was dangerous? Have you ever had to choose between keeping peace and standing up for what's right in your family relationships? I'd love to hear about your experiences with family loyalty and difficult choices in the comments below. If this story helped you recognize warning signs of manipulation in your own life, or gave you courage to stand up for family members who might be in danger, please share it with others who might need to hear it. Your like and subscription help me continue sharing these important stories about real families facing difficult decisions. Thank you for taking this journey with me through one of the most challenging periods of our lives. I hope it encourages you to trust your instincts, investigate carefully when something feels wrong. And remember that sometimes protecting the people you love requires temporary sacrifice of their approval. Until next time, keep fighting for truth and justice in your own family relationships.